What's going on, people? Welcome to the High Press Volume 2. My name is Dave. I'm here again on fanfutsal.com looking at the Pick'em feature. We're going to take a look at all of the matches in the Pick'em feature on fanfutsal.com, make our predictions, go through everything really quickly. You'll notice this is take 2. I forgot I only had 10 minutes of recording time, so everything has already been picked and you'll be able to see what I've already selected. Additionally, I have the microphone pointed the correct direction this week, so hopefully you'll hear me a little bit better and won't hear me clicking the mouse quite as much. I went 40% last week. I'm pretty proud of that on my predictions, so I'm pretty proud of that. Did go 1 for 9 in Ligue 1 though, so hopefully do a little bit better there. With all that being said, let's get right into it here. On Friday, Bayern plays Freiburg to kick things off. I like Bayern to get a result, get the second half of the year started off again. They're going to pull away in the title race, and it's going to be that. Las Palmas versus Deportivo La Coruña, I expect that to be a high-scoring draw there. Nice versus Bastia. Bastia struggles to score goals. Nice has a great defensive record. I like them to get a result on the road. Veracruz versus Atlas, I expect that to be a draw. Still early in the Liga MX campaign, and I don't think either club is able to get a result and pull ahead there. On Saturday, Liverpool gets things righted offensively against a terrible Swansea side. They get a win. Bournemouth versus Watford. Watford sliding back towards the relegation zone. They're not doing well. Bournemouth doing well at home. I expect them to get a win. Palace versus Everton. Palace not in a good run of form. Everton coming off that Man City victory, big Man City victory. I expect them to get a win there. Borough versus West Ham. Borough plays well at home, got a good defensive record. West Ham did have that big victory over Palace last week, but I don't think that really does anything for them. But I think they do still end up getting a draw, possibly a low-scoring draw there. Stoke versus Man U. Man U has been flying. I think they're 10 games or so undefeated. Stoke, two wins in a row in the league. I think they're able to stunt Man U's run back up into the Champions League spots, get a draw there. West Brom versus Sunderland. West Brom's 4-0 loss to Tottenham last week, I think was a blip more than something indicative of something more. And I like them to get a win against Sunderland, who's not doing too well. Man City versus Tottenham. Tottenham flying high, rising up the table. They're second. City falling, not doing well. I like Pep to get something figured out, not get a victory, but be able to get a draw out of that one. Schalke versus Ingolstadt. Ingolstadt down in the relegation zone. Schalke not doing very well either. Ingolstadt did get 2 victories right before they broke for the winter break, but I like Schalke to get a win there. Wolfsburg versus Hamburg. Both clubs really struggle to score goals. I like Wolfsburg in a very low-scoring game, maybe 1-0 or so. Augsburg versus Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim, last remaining undefeated team across the Big 5 European leagues domestically in their domestic league. Hoffenheim gets a win on the road against Augsburg. Werder versus Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund gets, their high-powered offense just blows them away and gets a win on the road. Darmstadt, who's been absolutely dreadful. Borussia Mönchengladbach has been pretty dreadful by their standards, but Darmstadt's almost a guarantee to be relegated. They've got at least 5 consecutive losses. Mönchengladbach pulls that out on the road. Leipzig versus Eintracht Frankfurt. This one's going to have Champions League implications. May have title implications in the Bundesliga, but I think Bayern's going to run away with things. Leipzig is second. Eintracht Frankfurt is fourth. And I think that one's going to be, both have pretty good defenses. I don't think either is able to pull ahead, and that one ends up being a draw. Espanyol versus Granada. Granada, worst defense in La Liga. Espanyol, not a great club either, but I think that they're able to do enough to get a win there. Real Madrid versus Malaga. Madrid, 2 consecutive losses after going 40 games unbeaten. I think that they get things corrected at home and get a victory. Deportivo Alaves versus Leganes. Neither really scores goals in bunches, but Leganes leaks a bunch of goals, whereas Alaves still has a pretty stout defense. I think Alaves to take the victory at home. Villarreal versus Valencia. Villarreal competing for Champions League spots in La Liga. I like them to get a victory over Valencia, who's really flirting with the relegation zone in La Liga. That's something to watch out for. Chievo versus Fiorentina. Fiorentina riding high after the victory over Juve this past weekend. They get a victory there. AC Milan versus Napoli. Again, title race is back on after Fiorentina beat Juve. Both these clubs not necessarily in the title race. With AC Milan, Napoli is kind of in the picture. I don't think either of them really is able to break through, and that one ends up being a draw. Switching to Ligue 1, hopefully I do better this week. Nantes, probably the hottest team in Ligue 1, 4 straight victories, but PSG finds a way to get a win there. Bordeaux versus Toulouse. These two clubs are 8th or 9th or 9th and 10th. They're really, really close in the table. Similar stats, but I like Bordeaux to figure out a way to get a result at home there. Dijon versus Lille, bottom half of the table clubs. Again, similar stats. I don't think either of them is able to figure each other out, and that one ends up being a draw. Similar thing with Nancy, both bottom half of the table clubs. Neither of them really able to get a victory there. Guingamp versus Rennes. This one's going to be an interesting game. Both are within touching distance of the fourth place in Ligue 1. Nobody's going to catch the top three, but both these clubs are in touching distance of Olympique Lyonnais. I like Guingamp to get a result at home. Metz versus Montpellier. Metz bottom of the table. Montpellier not doing too much better, but I like Metz to actually get a win at home and jump up out of the bottom. Cruz Azul versus Monterrey. Monterrey has been doing well, scoring a bunch of goals. I think this one ends up being a high scoring draw. Tigres versus America. Neither is off to a great start. Granted, it's 1 or 2 games into the Clausura, but I expect that one to end up being a draw. Santos Laguna, my new favorite club, versus Monarcas. My boy Jorge Sanchez, number 286. They find a way to get a victory over Monarcas. Club Leon versus Pumas. Still early in the season, still feeling their clubs out. That one ends up being a draw. Necaxa versus Pachuca. Pachuca 2-0 makes it 3-0. They get a victory there. Chivas versus Club Tijuana. Both should be fighting for playoff spots, but I think that one ends up as a draw in the end. It's going to Sunday, keeping things moving right along here. Southampton plays Leicester, and I like Southampton at home. Leicester still struggles. Worst performance by a defending champion in the EPL history since the early 90s. Arsenal over Burnley. Burnley surprised. They're in 10th, but I don't think there's any way that they continue that form. Chelsea over Hull at home. I like Hull. I like Hull's new manager. They're kind of doing better under him, but I don't think that they're able to get a result there. And so Chelsea wins. Bayer Leverkusen versus Hertha. Hertha third in the Bundesliga. They get things kind of started off the back half of the season and get a victory. Leverkusen is struggling by their standards. Mainz versus Köln. Köln still within touching distance of the Europa League spots. Mainz mid-table, kind of like they always are. I like that one to end up being a draw, possibly low-scoring draw. Sevilla coming off juiced, adrenaline flowing after their victory over Real Madrid. They get a victory over relegation-placed Osasuna. Atletico versus Athletic Club de Bilbao. Atletico Madrid, their defense, I'm going to take them most games, and I think their defense just pulls through and gets a victory for them there. Real Betis versus Sporting Gijon. Both clubs leaking goals. Gijon just leaking them like crazy. I like Betis there to get a victory at home. Sociedad versus Celta de Vigo. This one, both clubs score a bunch and leak a bunch. Should be a fun one to watch. I like Sociedad to pull that one out. Eibar versus Barcelona. Title race reinvigorated in La Liga. Barcelona uses that flow and gets a victory over Eibar. Juve versus Lazio. Juve with a slip up last week. Title race is kind of back on in Serie A, but I think they get it kind of figured out and get a victory over Lazio, although Lazio's no pushover. A lot of pressure there. Genoa versus Crotone. Crotone just really bad, down in the relegation zone, almost a certainty to go down. I think that they go down this year, and Genoa gets a victory. Palermo versus Inter. Inter muy caliente, as the kids like to say out here. I don't know what the kids say. I don't really interact with too many people, especially not youths out here. But Inter's been flying. They got 5 straight victories. They continue that, get a win. Pescara versus Sassuolo. Pescara, only 1 win on the year. They get their second win here. Doesn't matter. They're still going to go down this year, but they get a victory. Torino versus Bologna. I like Torino to get a win there. They're fun to watch. I think they get a victory. Empoli versus Udinese. Bottom half of the table clubs. That ends up being a draw. I don't think either of them really does much to get the juices flowing. That one ends up being a draw. Atalanta versus Sampdoria. I like Atalanta, top half of the table club. They get a victory there. Roma versus Cagliari. Roma reinvigorated, title race back on. They get a victory, flying high. Get a high scoring game. Speaking of high scoring, Monaco over Lorient. This one could be a bloodbath. Monaco, highest scoring team in Europe. Lorient, worst team in Ligue 1. Saint Etienne versus Angers. That one's going to be a lower scoring game. Neither club really scores goals. I like Saint Etienne in that one. Lyon, in the Battle of the Lyons, I like Lyonnais to get a win over Marseille. In Liga MX, Toluca over Chiapas and Puebla over Querétaro. That has been the High Press this week. I survived, you survived. Thanks for watching. Click the link up here. It's going to be up here if you're on YouTube. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.